Hello guys, welcome back to my channel NakedFusion. Today we'll be making corn pudding. This corn is frozen, so you can use a fresh corn, you can use a frozen corn. Mine is frozen, it has been taken off the cob, prepared, cleaned and ready for the corn pudding. So the corn pudding will be using some fresh peppers, onions, big crayfish, some smoked dried fish and some palm oil, seasonings, and of course moi moi leaf. So if you don't know how to use moi moi leaf, I have made a video on how to use your moi moi leaf. So into the blender I'm going to be adding my corn kernels, and I'm going to blend that with some peppers and onions into a very smooth paste. Now we don't want to blend all of them into a smooth paste, so we're going to blend some of it, and the reason why I'm blending some of it is so that it serves as the binding agent for the rough cuts I'm going to have as well. So I'm going to add water and I'm going to blend this up. Now if you're using very soft corns, very fresh soft corns, you don't necessarily have to add so much water as I'm going to use, because when you blend it you would see the consistency will be different. My corns, I didn't see them when it was in its it was unpeeled. Yes, so it was peeled from home and sent to me. So yeah, but I could tell that they were not very soft corns. So into my food processor I'm going to add in my other corn. Into the previous one that I've blended, I added some bonga, dried bonga, and I blended it together. That is optional if you want to, that's just to add flavor. So I'm going to rough blend this one and I'm going to add it to my already smooth blended corn pudding. So after I've blended everything, this is what it looks like. If you look closely, it's not very smooth. It's not very smooth. So I'm trying to mix this properly. And then to this I'm going to be adding some crayfish powder and some crayfish seasoning, as well as some palm oil. Yes, now another tricky part of this particular recipe is that if the oil is too much, you wouldn't like it, and if the oil is too little, you wouldn't like it. Same as moi moi also, if your salt is too much, you wouldn't like it. So I've added some seasoning cubes, some salt and water. I'm going to add water consistently until I've gotten the desired consistency that I want. I've added more palm oil to this, so you need to eyeball this and you need to taste as you go. If you do not taste, you would miss out. You need to taste as you go. Forget that it is raw. You need to taste it for salt, for the heat, the pepper and your crayfish, all those things. You need to taste if it has developed enough flavor. So at this point I've added some dry pepper because, well, there's not enough pepper in my corn pudding. Now if you're the type that do not like spicy, you don't need to add too much of pepper, and so please taste as you go. This is my final spoon of palm oil. At the point it was before, it was okay, but this is still okay. You will get to see the end result at the end of the video. So once we have finished all this, we are going to put this in our moi moi leaf. If you do not know how to use moi moi leaf, you can use a nylon, or you can use a takeaway plate, or the new foils they provide for you to steam your moi moi these days. So but I like to use moi moi leaf, and I have also done a video here. You can check my page for where I have done a video on how to tie your moi moi in the moi moi leaf. You can see that I've showed the consistency of what I wanted. It can be a little bit more runnier than this, but I would not do that because I don't want the water to seep out of it. So if you don't know how to tie a moi moi leaf, I'm just going to slow this down for you to see how I tie that. It's quite very easy. I would show you another one. Yes, you just roll that. I'm using a single sheet. In my previous video I showed beginners how to safely seal theirs, and they use 2 sheets of moi moi leaf. So with this, you you'll be able to tie your moi moi leaf with one leaf. Now if you have a leaf that is torn, you can double the leaf so that nothing seeps out. So that's what we're going to do until we have used up all our corn pudding batter. So while we are rounding up on that, you would need to have put some water on fire. You need to put water on fire just like how you prepare for moi moi. If I had my corn cobs here, I would have laid it down inside the pot, but it was sent to me to my new location, so I did not have moi moi. So I used a like a ring, you can see the ring, and then I layered it with some moi moi leaf, and I then put in my corn pudding very carefully. That one sipped it down. I let loose of it, and then it sipped out. So I started putting that in very carefully so that I don't have another sip. And my corn pudding like overflowed. Obviously, it was much, so I had to improvise. I had to look for what to use to cover this pot. So I added some more water to the pot. I'm just going to add more water to the pot, and then I'm going to cover it with some moi moi leaf. Like I'll put some moi moi leaf around this, and then I'm going to cover it with a sack bag and then allow that to cook. People from my place will say corn pudding is best eaten when it's cooked, like it's cooked overnight, and then very early hours of the morning you eat the corn pudding. So what I did was, by this time I was cooking, it was already evening, so I only opened this the next day. It wasn't cooking throughout the night. It cooked, and then I switched it off. I had a long day. I switched it off, and then it cooked through, and then the next day I decided to check it. You see what it looks like the next day. So like I said, I covered with some leaf, and then I'm going to use a sackcloth to cover it up. So the next day I decided to heat it up a little bit and check what it looks like. It is obviously not very hot. If it was very hot, I won't be able to use my hand to hold that. So it is a bit firm. I'm just going to open this up and we'll see what it looks like. In my place, we serve this on the leaf. You don't take it off the leaf, and people don't use spoon there. Like in Lagos, yes, we were taught how to make this, but we use spoon. But when we got to the village, like, it's better to use your hand, and really I tried. It is better to use your hand. So this is what it looks like when it comes out. You can see the corn pudding is corn pudding, if there's a word like that. So that's what our corn pudding looks like. I'm going to break it, obviously break it down with a spoon so that you can see the texture of it. Like, it's rough. It's not supposed to be entirely smooth. This is what it looks like the closer shot. This is what it looks like. You can see our crayfish and fish and all those things. So this is what it looks like, and I'm going to break this up so that you see the consistency. Is this smooth part just helps it to bind together, but it's supposed to be rough. You can see, yeah, that is what we want to get from our corn pudding. We don't want it entirely smooth. Some people don't mind it very smooth, but this is how it's supposed to be. So that's what it looks like. I was already tasting it. I was supposed to be showing you, like lifting the spoon to show you the texture, but I had to taste it. So that's what our corn pudding looks like. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, do not hesitate to hit the subscribe button, like and share this video. Until next time, keep exploring. Bye.